What do we got going on? As if you guys couldn't tell, I have been somewhat obsessing about keeping the lights on around these parts. I think it would be the last video for you guys. We talked about the EcoFlow so far, no updates. Turned that thing back on Pony Express. Haven't received my solar panels yet, no update there. The unit itself is still working perfectly fine. What do we have next? What do we have this week? What just got delivered? I picked myself up a big old generator. As you can imagine, with all the trees around here, it is not easy to keep the lights on when it's not like this out here. The wind blows, the snow falls, it rains really hard, and the power goes out. I am a creature of comfort. I prefer to be cool in the house. I prefer to be warm in the winter, cool in the summer, and this is going to help us attain our goals. Now, I do have another generator. It's a I think 6000 Hyundai unit that I'm going to be donating to a friend of mine. That's just a fancy word. I'm just giving it to a buddy of mine. It works fine, but it's an open frame. It's not an inverter. We had a very good month this month, so I've spent a ton of money on things keeping the lights around. Let's stop talking. Let's get into the unit that I bought, and let's figure out why I bought it. And also, I'm also going to do a little mods to it. I'm a tinkerer. I'm going to tinker with it before it even goes into service. All right, it's too hot to bend over, so I just lifted this thing up, put it on the table so we can work at it while standing. So I went ahead and picked up the GenMax GM9000iED. Again, another company not really good at marketing. Before we get into the mods, I figured we'll go through a couple of things. Out of all the generators out there, why did I pick this one as opposed to all the other generators that are out there? All right, got the side panel off, because it's kind of demonstrative to my point. We'll get to it a little bit. If you're in the market for an inverter generator, you really have only a handful of generators out there. I knew I didn't want an open frame because I have an open frame already, but we got a lot of electronics, and if there's an option to run things safer, I went with the inverter generator. They're quieter, the energy is cleaner. So at that point, you really pare down the large selection process to really only 3 or 4 serious contenders. The first one, the most obvious choice to everybody, is going to be the Harbor Freight Predator 9500. And there's a couple of reasons why I didn't go with that one. I'm not a Harbor Freight hater. As a matter of fact, I initially had it in my head to completely just go down to my local Harbor Freight. They had one in stock, go and buy that one. After I started doing a little bit more research, here are the reasons why I didn't get the Harbor Freight one. First of all, despite what the Tool Bear guy says, it's not the greatest thing since sliced bread. There are other options out there, obviously. That guy has a partnership. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. The big one that really knocked it out is it's not dual fuel capable. This is a dual fuel machine. That's, I believe, what the IED stands for in the model name of this one. The Harbor Freight runs on gasoline only, and in an emergency or a really grid down situation, gasoline usually goes out pretty quickly. And from where we live, if our power is out here, the power at the gas station's pretty gonna be out too. So at that point, how much gas are you really gonna want to be saving? So the fact that it's not dual fuel almost immediately knocked it out of contention. Secondly, as far as the Harbor Freight machine goes, it does not have a 50 amp plug. Now, I do not need a 50 amp plug. This machine can't really even put out 50 amps, but hey, you never know. We might get an RV in the future. It's something that we discussed, and I'd like to have the ability to hook this up right to an RV and power it off of there without converting and all that other stuff. So, you know, as far as the 50 amp plug goes, it's a need and not have versus a have and not need. Or is that backwards? Either way. And in comparison to this unit, I'm aware that the Harbor Freight has 500 more watts. It's a 95 versus a 9000. I still don't feel like that washes out any of the other options that it doesn't have. And also, I don't know if that was worth $300. Finally, as far as the last strike on the Harbor Freight, everybody knows that Harbor Freight has this ridiculously good return policy. That's not on the generators. Their return policy on that is only 90 days. And who knows if I'm going to even use this in 90 days. Amazon customer service and the warranty and return policy is actually better on this than it is on the Harbor Freight. So for that reason, it's out. Finally, on the last point, if you're a dollars and cents person, at the time of purchase, I understand that there are coupons. I understand that you could catch it on a 10th day or something. But at the time of purchase, this machine was $21.99. And on Harbor Freight, the Predator one, the big dog of the group, that was $24.99. So it was $300 more than this one, again without coupons, and didn't have nearly as many features as this one did. The dual fuel was a big one. Then you start getting into the machines that all kind of look the same. Again, going back to the Harbor Freight, doesn't have nearly the same panel up here with the hour meter, voltage meter. It has a very basic hours meter. That's really the display that you have on the Harbor Freight one. But then you can go over to the Duromax, this GenMax, and the Pulsar unit. They're easily made in the same factory. There's really no question. They're probably made in the same factory. They're just different colors. But in there are some differences as well. But they start getting nicky-nacky. The Duromax, again, looks pretty much exactly the same, but the handle is in the back. And as far as I'm concerned and how I stow my machine, I need to have the handle in the front. I don't know if you could buy it and switch the handles around. Either way, if that's important to you, how you store it, access to whatever you need, I wanted the handle in the front. This machine has the handle in the front. Also on the Duromax, it does not have a 50 amp. If this is wrong, I'll edit it out. But as far as I know, there's no 50 amp plug. We discussed why I wanted it. There's no 50 amp plug on the Duromax. Secondly, on the Duromax versus the GenMax here, this may be important to you. You may not realize it, but the exhaust comes out on the back here. On the Duromax, it comes out on the side. I believe it's the pull start side, but I'm not really sure. Why is that important? This is my spot where I hook up the generator, pretty much where the bike is. The electrical hookup is right by the back door, and to be able to just kind of tuck it this way or put the generator this way with my plugs here and the exhaust going back that way, not bouncing up against the wall, overheating anything, that to me was important. And finally, the big reason why I didn't go with the Duromax is this gray knob right here. This gray knob, whilst inconvenient, believe it or not, on a small engine, is actually an oil filter. And now, as far as I know, only the GenMax and the Pulsar unit are the only ones that have any sort of oil filtration built in. And as I've demonstrated a number of times on this channel, whether it's this thing or any of my other internal combustion engines, I'm a maintenance nerd. So if there's something going on that's gonna help me out here, get better performance, perhaps better life, who knows? It's better, again, to need and not have and not need. I like that it has oil filtration on it. That's just me. But if those things aren't important to you, the Duromax is a great option. It's the same exact price as the GenMax, but this, again, had a couple of additional features that the Duromax didn't have. And I know I just mentioned it. What's the other generator that we have out there kind of in this ecosystem? There's one called a Pulsar. It's a very, very similar looking to this unit. It's a 95-7600, so 500 more watts than this. Again, we established not that important to me. It does have oil filtration, but that one was, at the time of filming, that unit was $2,463, about $265 more expensive than this unit was. Is the 500 watts worth it? For me, it wasn't. Let's not be crazy here. It's only 500 watts. Just turn a couple light switches off. It'll do just fine. Finally, as far as the Pulsar goes, on Amazon, again at the time of filming, it only had one review on it. I don't really believe in reviews, but I like reading them. It's part of my research process, and the fact that it was so new, only one person had bought it or one person had reviewed it, made me a little hinky. So that's why I didn't go with the Pulsar. Felt that the GenMax was the machine that I was looking for to hit my needs. In the about 10 days it took for Amazon to deliver this, it was delivered freight, so it's not prime, it's not coming right there. You gotta schedule your delivery. Mine came from California to the Port of Baltimore and then was delivered here in Southern Maryland. It took about 10 days. Luckily, haven't needed a generator, So it gave me some more time to buy some stuff to put onto it. So without even running it one time, I'm already gonna fiddle with it. Nothing too crazy though. First thing I'm gonna do, because it's a brand new engine, and it's a small engine, and it's Chinese, I'm going with the magnetic dipstick, because as this thing breaks in, it's gonna shed a little weight. In concert with the oil filter and the magnetic filter, hopefully we're able to kind of catch all the little bits that come along. If you watch the hour video when on the big tractor, you know that I don't like little bits. I'll spend extra to not get little bits. Beautiful. Nice. Even though I appreciate the silence of an inverter generator and the padding that's kind of encasing the entire unit, does make changing the oil a little bit of a messy process. What you're supposed to do is obviously pull the drain plug and then let it drain down here, and there's another drain in the bottom here that I'm not gonna mess with. And then you just kind of let it drain out and then go down this drain in the plastic pan. I don't think so. So what I went ahead and did, I went ahead and picked up one of these Drains It easy oil changey things. I always wanted to put one of these on the log splitter, but never did. It already made the mess, so I felt that there was no use in doing it now. So while this machine is still clean, go ahead and put this Drains It thing on there. Cool. Got this all tightened up. I don't have any oil here from GenMax. I'm going with Royal Purple. It was the only break-in oil I can get my hands on. The break-in procedure on this thing is going to be 5 hours. 5 hours, then we'll do an oil change. After that, I'll probably do another one, because I did see somewhere, I believe in Javier's video, where he mentioned another one at 30 hours. So I bought 2 quarts of Royal Purple break-in, and we'll do that at that time. I heard, though, if you've watched this channel for any amount of time, I heard that this takes 1 quart of oil. Now, why do you say that that's a big deal? Because I always said, when I became president, I would run on a platform solely of making containers and their respective receptacles be the same size. Why couldn't you adjust one thing 1 inch down the bottom of the oil pan and make it take 3 quarts? Let's mandate that all windshield wiper fluid containers in vehicles take 1 gallon of liquid. Who doesn't have 50 million of these sitting around? Just make it a gallon so I can dump the whole thing in. Just make it 3 quarts so I can dump the whole thing in. Haha! Finally, a product that takes the proper amount of stuff. Exactly 1 quart. It's exactly where we want it. Fantastic. I knew it was going to happen one day. I feel like I won an award. It's just fantastic. It's the little things in life that make you happy. Fantastic. And here we have the last mod that I put on prior to putting the thing into service. I have heard through YouTube videos and some of the reviews that the hour meter in the front stops working. The machine's totally fine, but the hour meter stops working. That's kind of annoying, but it's, you know, dealing with these Chinese companies, sometimes it's hard to get in touch with them or try to get replacement parts, whatever. I went ahead and put a cheapy hour meter on it, a backup hour meter, regular dirt bike joints. Just mounted it up here, tied it in, and that should give me an efficient backup in case the hour meter does not actually keep its total. 5, low idle, off, main switch on, main screen turn on. Well, here goes nothing. Fuel's on, main switch on. All right, maybe it's got to bleed a little out, something. Fuel's on, automatic restart. Started right up. Actually restarted on its own. I have headphones in. Wait, that's how loud it is? Are you serious? so I'm right in front of it. Holy smokes. I see on the meter, it looks like it's up high, but in reality, this is unbelievably quiet. Got a little bit of blue smoke coming out right now, so I'm gonna let it run for a little bit, see if it burns off whatever it needs to burn off. Let's go find some stuff to plug into it. I can't believe how quiet it is. I don't have any James Condon-esque space heaters, because we live in the South. Who the hell needs a space heater down here? But I got some heat guns. That's 1400 watts. Back it up to 11. Stole Mama's hair dryer. I can't believe how quiet it is. This thing's great. I can't believe how quiet it is. I don't know what it's going to come up with the mic. It's definitely quieter than the tractors. You know, filming YouTubes with the machines running, it's definitely quieter than that. It's been running for about 10 minutes now. According to the instructions for the cheapy hour meter, it should register something. So I'm gonna go double check that. And that's definitely working. Terrific. Let's turn it off, get to the outro. Awesome. Couple of things before we get wrapped up. First, obviously, I don't plan on running it off of the barbecue tanks. What are these, 20-pounders or whatever? That's not very prep worthy. While I do have a handful of these around, the bigger tanks, as shown here, are on the other side of the house, and we just got to pipe it across so that we have a propane hookup over here. I already had a plumber come out, take a look at it, do a site visit. He made a material list, and then something else came up along the way that was far more important than dealing with my nonsense. The plumber's my daddy. So we'll run a new line over here and have a more permanent hookup for the propane of the generator. I feel that while there is reduced wattage with propane, the benefits, specifically the storage of it, far outweigh less wattage that you get out of a generator. Propane stores indefinitely. You could store it, and we already have it by the hundreds and hundreds of gallons. I think I did a back of the napkin calculation that if I had nothing else running, which really not much runs in the house on propane, it could run this generator for like 29 days or something like that at a 50% load. So I feel far more comfortable plumbing this up to propane with the benefits than I do with the lesser wattage. That's just me. Of course, you know, this is dual fuel. There's always at least 20 gallons of gas around in the house anyway, just with various implements. We could always back up the backup plan. One is none, two is one type of thing. So we're in good shape as far as fueling it up goes. The last thing that I have to do, which I'm gonna wait for the kids to get out of the house, or just not such a hot day, is I believe I have to hook this up to a floating neutral, which is just removing a wire off the front panel. I know I have to do that because specifically with the other generator that was a bonded neutral machine, and everything in the house would run except one UPC would not like it at all. and the tankless water heater would throw an error code. So in order to avoid that headache in the future, I got to switch this over to bonded or floating neutral. I'm not going to show that because I'm not going to get sued in case you burn your house down, but I'll leave a link somewhere to Javier. He shows how to do it. Totally fine. I have no problem you giving him some views. So to wrap up, what I'm going to do again in a couple days when the temperature breaks, I'm going to knock the power out in the house. Hook this up as if it was an emergency. Start turning things on. Make sure they work. If there's problems, I'll edit it in here. But if not, I'm going to be super happy. I know the house is already set up for a generator. It's just replacing the actual horsepower itself right here. And I can't believe how quiet it is. That's amazing. I didn't even know they made them this quiet. So I think that's it. That concludes the whys and the whats and the whos and the hows of why I bought the GenMax over any of the other inverter generators out there on the market. God, it's hot out here. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.
Subscribe to Woods Creek.
Who's that?
Daddy. And me. And me.
All right, so stop starting every sentence with all right, so. Guess we found the blooper reel.